You're about to make the biggest purchase of your life, a home. But what if I told you that in some of America's most popular cities, that dream home comes with a hidden expiration date? Not because of the foundation, not because of the neighborhood, but because of something far more fundamental: water, or more precisely, the lack of it. Right now, across the United States, there are cities where developers are still selling homes for hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, built on land where the water supply is quite literally running out. We're not talking about a distant problem for future generations to solve. We're talking about state governments officially halting development, cities cutting off their neighbors, and homeowners watching their property values built on promises that can't physically be kept. If you're thinking about buying property, relocating, or investing in real estate, this video might just save you from making a catastrophic mistake. And if you find this information valuable, hit that like button and subscribe, because understanding these risks isn't just smart, it's essential for anyone navigating today's housing market. Let's take a road trip through America's most beautiful, desirable, and dangerously thirsty cities. Number 10. Los Angeles, California. Paradise with a price tag. Our journey begins exactly where you'd expect, stuck in traffic on the infamous 405 freeway. Roll down your window and you'll smell it. That distinct blend of ocean air, exhaust fumes, and expensive ambition. Look around and you'll see something that shouldn't exist. Perfectly manicured emerald lawns, crystal clear swimming pools, and lush landscaping stretching endlessly across what is essentially a coastal desert. It's stunning, it's iconic, and according to Zillow's latest data from early 2026, it'll cost you just over $1 million for a median-priced home. At that price point, you'd naturally assume that water flowing from your tap is a given. You'd be wrong. Los Angeles depends on three primary water sources. There's the local Los Angeles Aqueduct, groundwater reserves, and most critically, imported water from two increasingly unreliable sources: the Colorado River and the State Water Project, which depends entirely on Sierra Nevada snowpack. That snowpack has become wildly unpredictable in recent years. And the Colorado River? It's been overallocated for decades and continues to shrink year after year. Yet, despite these glaring red flags, city officials continue approving permits for new housing developments, insisting there's adequate water for growth. The disconnect between their assurances and hydrological reality is staggering. Here's where it directly impacts your wallet. The Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, the wholesale supplier that LA depends on, has already implemented an 8.5% rate increase for 2025, with another 8.5% hike planned for 2026. On top of that, property tax assessments specifically for water infrastructure have doubled for the first time in over 30 years. This isn't speculation or fear-mongering. These increases are already in effect. So while that $1 million price tag grabs all your attention, the escalating cost of the water you need to actually live in that home barely gets mentioned in any real estate transaction. It's a slow-motion surcharge on basic survival in what many consider paradise. The real question becomes, is this sustainable, or are we watching a slow-motion crisis unfold in real time? Number 9. San Antonio, Texas. Building over the Lifeline Drive east into the heart of Texas, and you'll find San Antonio, a city that immediately captures your imagination. The Alamo stands as a proud symbol of resilience. The famous Riverwalk winds through downtown, creating a charming oasis that feels both historic and alive. With a median home price hovering around $315,000, according to Redfin's latest figures, it's no wonder people fleeing. Expensive coastal cities are flocking here in droves. But that affordability comes with a catch that no mortgage calculator will ever reveal to you. Unlike Los Angeles, with its complex network of imported water, San Antonio relies almost entirely on a single source: the Edwards Aquifer. This massive underground limestone formation provides drinking water for over 2 million people. It's essentially one giant natural sponge beneath the city. And therein lies the problem. San Antonio is growing at one of the fastest rates in the nation. Developers are constructing thousands of new homes annually, and many of these developments are being built directly on top of the aquifer's environmentally sensitive recharge zones. Every new concrete slab poured, every asphalt road laid, every sprawling subdivision built paves over the very land that allows rainwater to percolate down and refill the city's only water source. Think about that for a moment. The city is literally building over its own lifeline. During Texas's increasingly frequent and severe droughts, aquifer levels drop dramatically, triggering strict watering restrictions that often pit neighbor against neighbor. These aren't theoretical scenarios. They're regular occurrences that residents have learned to expect. When you buy a home in San Antonio, you're investing in a city that has chosen explosive short-term growth over long-term water security. It's a masterclass in prioritizing developer profits while gambling with basic hydrological reality. The question you have to ask yourself is, how long can this imbalance continue before something has to give? Number 8. El Paso, Texas. Doing everything right and still falling short. Continue west across Texas, and the landscape transforms into something stark, rugged, and hauntingly beautiful. The Franklin Mountains slice dramatically across the horizon as you enter El Paso, a city that truly feels like it exists on the edge of the world. Here's what makes El Paso fascinating. They've actually done almost everything right. The city is recognized globally as a leader in water conservation. For decades, they've been preparing for exactly this crisis through innovative desalination projects, aggressive water reuse programs, and comprehensive public education campaigns. The median home price sits just above $260,000, making it one of the more affordable options in today's market. So what's the catch? Even with all these proactive measures, it still might not be enough. El Paso's primary surface water source, the Rio Grande, has been reduced to little more than a dry trench for much of the year due to upstream overuse. This forces the city to rely heavily on underground aquifers, which are being depleted significantly faster than nature can replenish them. The city's ambitious solution is a state-of-the-art facility that converts treated wastewater into pure drinking water. It's a genuine engineering marvel that represents the cutting edge of water technology. It's also extraordinarily expensive. The initial phase alone carries a $100 million price tag, part of a much larger multi-billion-dollar capital improvement plan. And who pays for these life-saving but wallet-draining projects? You do through steadily climbing water rates that, according to utility projections, will continue rising for the foreseeable future. A recent comprehensive study warned that these increasing utility costs could become a significant financial burden for more than 40% of households in the area. This isn't a story about taps running dry tomorrow. It's about water becoming so expensive that it creates an entirely new form of housing unaffordability. You might qualify for the mortgage, but can you sustain the water bill that comes with it? At what point does the cost of water make even an affordable city financially out of reach for average families? Number 7. Salt Lake City, Utah. Toxic dust and disappearing snow head north, and watch the Rocky Mountains rise dramatically from the plains. As you enter Salt Lake City, you're immediately struck by its almost aggressive natural beauty. The air feels crisp and clean, the streets are wide and meticulously maintained, and the Wasatch Range towers over the valley like an imposing fortress wall. Everything about this place projects prosperity and order. According to Zillow's latest data, the median home price hovers around $565,000. But when you buy property here, you're not just purchasing a home. You're buying a front-row seat to an ecological disaster unfolding in slow motion right before your eyes. Just miles away, the Great Salt Lake is steadily shrinking. For decades, massive quantities of water from the rivers that feed it have been diverted to support agriculture and urban development. As the lake recedes, it exposes a toxic lakebed contaminated with decades of accumulated industrial runoff, including arsenic, mercury, and lead. When strong winds sweep across this exposed lakebed, that poisonous dust becomes airborne and drifts directly into the valley where millions of people live, including into your expensive new neighborhood. But the threat doesn't stop with toxic air. The Great Salt Lake plays a crucial role in creating what's known as the lake effect, a weather phenomenon that significantly enhances snowpack in the surrounding mountains. That snowpack serves as the primary source of drinking water for the entire region. A dying lake means reduced snowfall, and reduced snowfall means less water flowing from your tap. It's a nightmare scenario. You're holding a 30-year mortgage in a city where you might eventually face a choice between breathable air and drinkable water. Yet home prices remain elevated because the mountain views are absolutely stunning. So, which poses the greater threat to your property value? The toxic dust storms or the shrinking water supply? Number 6. San Diego, California. The end of the pipeline. Head back to the coast and cruise down sun-drenched highways until you reach what residents call America's finest city. San Diego greets you with undeniable beauty. The weather defaults to 70 degrees and sunny. The beaches are world-renowned, and the lifestyle is quintessentially California laid back. Naturally, people pay a premium for this experience. According to Redfin, the median home price teeters just under $1 million. But here's what the real estate agents won't emphasize. You're not just buying a house, you're subscribing to a very, very long hose. The harsh reality hiding behind all that sunshine is this. San Diego imports between 85% and 90% of its water. Read that again. Nearly all of the water for 3 million residents travels hundreds of miles, primarily from those same two increasingly unreliable sources we've already discussed, the Colorado River and the State Water Project. San Diego sits literally at the end of the pipeline. When water shortages hit upstream in Arizona or northern California, San Diego feels the pain first and receives relief last. To address this frightening vulnerability, the San Diego County Water Authority constructed the largest desalination plant in the Western Hemisphere. This technological marvel converts ocean water into drinking water, and it represents genuine innovation. It's also wildly expensive to operate, and those operational costs get passed directly to homeowners through their water bills. San Diego already has some of the highest water rates in the entire country, and as traditional water sources continue declining, dependence on expensive desalinated water will only increase. People often joke about the sunshine tax of living here, but the real tax is that ever-increasing water bill. When your monthly water bill starts approaching the cost of a second mortgage payment, you have to ask yourself, is that perfect weather really worth it? Number 5. Cape Coral, Florida. The waterfront illusion crossed the entire country, trading the arid heat of the West for the thick, humid atmosphere of Southwest Florida. As you enter Cape Coral, it initially appears to be a suburban paradise laid out in a neat, organized grid. Then you notice something unusual. The streets are lined with water. With over 400 miles of canals, more than any other city on Earth, Cape Coral was marketed as a boater's paradise, a waterfront home for the everyday American. According to Zillow, the median home price sits around $415,000. Sounds like a steal for waterfront property, right? Not quite. That water is precisely the problem. Cape Coral draws its fresh water from a shallow underground aquifer, while those scenic canals connect directly to the Gulf of Mexico. For decades, as the city pumped increasing amounts of groundwater to fuel rapid development, it created a vacuum underground. Now, denser salt water from the Gulf is steadily creeping into the aquifer, contaminating the city's drinking water supply. This isn't a distant, future threat. It's happening right now. A slow-motion disaster entirely of the city's own making. The only solution is a massive expansion of the city's reverse osmosis plants, complex facilities that essentially power wash the salt from the water. It's an energy-intensive, extraordinarily expensive process, and residents are footing the bill through skyrocketing water rates and special assessments. You purchased a house on a canal for the waterfront view and lifestyle, and now you're paying a premium just to make the water beneath your own property drinkable again. The very feature that made the city attractive has become its greatest liability. It's almost poetic in its irony. Number 4. Las Vegas, Nevada. Maximum efficiency, zero margin. Leave the humid swamps of Florida behind and drive straight into the heart of the Mojave Desert. After hours of barren landscape, a glittering skyline materializes from the haze. This is Las Vegas, a defiant monument to human ambition rising, impossibly from the desert. According to Redfin's latest figures, the median home price sits in the mid-$400,000 range, an attractive option for those priced out of California. But purchasing property here isn't just buying a home. It's placing a bet against the fundamental laws of physics. Approximately 90% of southern Nevada's water comes from exactly one source, the Colorado River, stored in Lake Mead. You've seen the images. That stark white bathtub ring on the canyon walls serves as a haunting reminder of how dramatically water levels have dropped over the past 2 decades. To be fair, nobody conserves water better than Las Vegas. The city employs water cops who patrol neighborhoods. They literally pay residents to remove grass lawns. They recycle 99% of indoor water. It's a world-class conservation system operating at peak efficiency. And that's precisely what should terrify you. This is a system running at maximum capacity with absolutely zero margin for error. Meanwhile, homeowners face fines for leaky sprinkler heads, while the city continues welcoming 40 million tourists annually and approving new housing developments. It's a paradox baked directly into the city's DNA. Extreme conservation measures for residents, extreme consumption to fuel the tourism economy. You're investing in a community that has mastered crisis management but hasn't actually solved the underlying problem. There simply isn't enough water to support it all, indefinitely. So the real question becomes, is Las Vegas's water strategy a model of innovative genius, or is it the highest stakes gamble in the entire country? Number 3. Scottsdale, Arizona. The lifeboat that throws people overboard. Drive southeast into Arizona, and the landscape shifts dramatically. The raw, honest desert gives way to something carefully manufactured. As you enter Scottsdale, it feels less like a city and more like an endless luxury resort. Lawns are impossibly perfect, golf courses glow emerald green, and the air carries the unmistakable scent of wealth. This is desert luxury at its absolute peak, with Zillow reporting a median home price around $825,000. But beneath all that polished perfection lies a brutal reality: survival of the fittest. For years, Scottsdale sold surplus water from its Colorado River allocation to the nearby unincorporated community of Rio Verde foothills. Hundreds of residents there depended entirely on that water supply. Then, on January 1, 2023, Scottsdale abruptly shut off the tap. Citing unprecedented drought conditions and dwindling supplies, the city made a calculated decision to cut off its neighbors, leaving hundreds of homeowners scrambling to purchase expensive trucked-in water. This wasn't a warning shot or a gradual phase-out. It was an immediate cutoff that marked the first real battle in what some are calling the water wars. While Scottsdale preaches conservation to its own residents, it demonstrated conclusively that when scarcity becomes real, It will protect itself first, and everyone else is left to fend for themselves. When you purchase a home here, you're not just investing in luxury real estate. You're buying a spot on a lifeboat that has already proven it's willing to throw people overboard to keep itself afloat. Is this a harsh but necessary act of self-preservation, or a moral failure that signals a terrifying future for the entire region? Number 2. Phoenix, Arizona. The official end of Growth Drive. Just 20 minutes from Scottsdale's luxury bubble, and you enter a completely different world. This is Phoenix, the beating heart of the Valley of the Sun, a sprawling metropolis of nearly 5 million people that has served as America's poster child for explosive growth for decades. According to Redfin, the median home price sits just under $10,000. For years, the sales pitch was beautifully simple. Move here, get an affordable house, and enjoy the sun-soaked lifestyle. That pitch is now officially dead. This isn't speculation. It's a documented reality. In 2023, the Arizona Department of Water Resources made a stunning announcement that sent shockwaves through the real estate industry. The agency declared it would stop issuing new permits for developments in the Phoenix area that rely solely on groundwater. Why? After extensive modeling and analysis, they concluded there isn't a guaranteed 100-year water supply to support continued growth. Let that sink in for a moment. The state government itself examined the data and publicly admitted that the traditional growth model is a fantasy. The projected shortfall is a staggering 4.86 million acre-feet of water over the next century. The number is so enormous it almost defies comprehension. This represents the ultimate red flag, not from an environmental advocacy group or concerned scientists, but from a government agency with access to all the data, officially declaring that the emperor has no clothes. You're looking at a city where existing homes currently have water, but the promise of future development, the very thing that props up property values, has just been fundamentally undermined. You could purchase a home today only to discover that the planned neighborhood next door will never materialize because the water required to support it simply doesn't exist on paper. Is this the moment Phoenix's legendary growth engine finally stalls, or will engineers and policymakers find some technological workaround to keep the music playing just a little bit longer? Number 1. Buckeye, Arizona. The Titanic after the iceberg. This is it, the end of the road. Drive past Phoenix, beyond the final suburbs, into the vast, sun-scorched emptiness of the West Valley. Welcome to Buckeye, Arizona, the ultimate destination, the grand finale, and arguably the most absurdly risky place to buy a home in America right now. For years, Buckeye ranked among the fastest-growing cities in the entire nation, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Data. Its population exploded based on one simple, seductive promise: cheap land and brand-new homes. That promise is now, legally and officially, a lie. Zillow reports the median home price at just over $415,000. For first-time buyers, it appears to be the perfect entry point. Imagine purchasing a starter home in a brand-new community surrounded by empty lots designated for future parks, schools, and additional homes that will theoretically drive your property value upward. Except those developments probably won't happen. Following the same Arizona Department of Water Resources ruling that impacted Phoenix, Buckeye's planned future growth has been effectively erased from the map. The city's master plan projected a population exceeding 1 million people, with hundreds of thousands of homes already approved and in various stages of planning. Nearly all of that anticipated growth relied on groundwater that the state has now officially declared doesn't exist in sufficient quantities to support development. This isn't a temporary water shortage or a drought-related setback. It's a business model being declared legally unsustainable by the state government itself. Current homes remain supplied with water for now, but their value is built upon a future that has been officially canceled. You're not purchasing a home with growth potential. You're buying a ticket on the Titanic after everyone knows it's already struck the iceberg. You're paying over $400,000 for a house in a half-completed development that may never reach its planned capacity, propped up by an economy that was betting on continued construction of homes requiring water that demonstrably isn't there. It represents the clearest, most terrifying example of a real estate time bomb anywhere in the country. How do you even begin to calculate the true value of a home in a city that has officially run out of a future? The uncomfortable truth. So there you have it, 10 cities, 10 different scenarios where the American dream of homeownership collides head-on with the immutable reality of water scarcity. We've witnessed communities enthusiastically paving over their only water sources, cities cutting off their neighbors during crises, and developers selling homes in places where state governments have officially declared growth impossible. This isn't just a Sunbelt problem or a regional crisis that you can simply avoid by choosing a different zip code. It's a warning sign of a fundamental flaw in how America approaches development, growth, and the basic resources necessary to sustain human life. The true cost of a home isn't reflected in the listing price or even the mortgage payment. It's hidden in the water infrastructure, the rising utility bills, the special assessments, and most critically, in the long-term viability of the community itself. Before you make an offer on any property, especially in the regions we've discussed, ask the hard questions that real estate agents won't volunteer. Answers to: where does the water come from? What are the projected costs over the next decade? What happens during the next major drought? Has the state or local government imposed any growth restrictions? These aren't pessimistic questions. They're essential due diligence for what is likely the largest investment you'll ever make. The real question facing all of us is this: are we witnessing a localized crisis affecting a handful of cities, or is America's entire housing market built on a foundation of sand, sustained by promises that can't physically be kept? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes to risks you hadn't considered, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the uncomfortable truths that impact your financial future. Because when it comes to the biggest purchase of your life, ignorance isn't bliss, it's just expensive.